Have you ever wondered how some people seem to outsmart everyone else, no matter the situation? Why do they always seem to be one step ahead? It's not magic, it's not luck, it's a mindset, a secret weapon used by the greats of history. In a world where we are constantly bombarded by distractions, expectations, and pressures, the ability to stay calm, clear, and controlled is what sets the winners apart from the rest. The key, Stoicism, you've heard of it, right? It's an ancient philosophy that's as relevant today as it was in ancient Greece. And guess what? You can harness its power. These 9 Stoic keys will give you the tools to outsmart everyone around you. Let me show you how. We all encounter obstacles in life. Big ones, small ones, and everything in between. But here's the thing, life isn't about avoiding obstacles. It's about mastering your reaction to them. Stoicism teaches us that we can't control what happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Think about it. When life throws challenges your way, how do you respond? Do you panic? Do you get frustrated? Or do you stay calm, cool, and collected, knowing that your reaction will determine your outcome? That's the first key to outsmarting everyone, control over your emotions. Let's dig deeper into this. One of the most profound aspects of Stoicism is the idea of focusing on what you can control. Think about this. How much energy do you waste each day worrying about things outside your control? The weather, other people's actions, or the economy? All of these are beyond your influence. So why spend your time and mental energy on them? Instead, Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions, thoughts, and attitudes, the things we can actually change. When you begin to focus only on what you can control, you immediately gain an edge over those who are constantly consumed by external factors. But how does this work in real life? Let's say you're in a tough situation at work where everything is falling apart around you. Your boss is angry, your team is disorganized, and the deadline is fast approaching. In that moment, it's easy to lose your temper, stress out, and spiral into a frenzy of negative emotions. But here's the trick. Instead of reacting emotionally, you take a step back and ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? Maybe you can't control your boss's mood or your team's performance, but you can control how you handle the stress, how you communicate with others, and how you stay focused on solutions. This simple shift in perspective can make all the difference in the world. The next key in Stoicism is the idea of embracing discomfort. It may sound counterintuitive, right? Why would you want to embrace discomfort? Well, here's the thing. Discomfort is a powerful teacher. Think about the last time you faced a challenge that pushed you out of your comfort zone. How did you feel afterward? More confident, more capable, right? Stoics believe that by facing discomfort head-on, we grow stronger, we build resilience, and we become less vulnerable to the inevitable challenges life throws our way. In today's world, it's so easy to avoid discomfort. We can order food with the click of a button, stream entertainment at any time, and even avoid social interactions if we want. But here's the problem. When we avoid discomfort, we avoid growth. We stay stuck in a comfort zone, never pushing ourselves to achieve more. The Stoic approach is to see discomfort, not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth. When you embrace discomfort, you gain the strength to handle whatever life throws your way. And that, my friend, is how you outsmart the competition. Think about the great Stoic thinkers, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus. These individuals didn't shy away from hardship. In fact, they saw hardship as an essential part of their journey. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly reminds himself that adversity is inevitable and that it's his duty to face it with grace and determination. Seneca wrote about the value of hardship in his letters, emphasizing that the challenges we face reveal our true character. By embracing discomfort, you develop not just mental strength, but emotional resilience. And that's exactly what you need to outsmart everyone around you. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful Stoic concepts, the dichotomy of control. It's simple but incredibly powerful. The dichotomy of control teaches us to distinguish between things we can control and things we can't. This concept can be life-changing. Think about the amount of mental energy you waste by obsessing over things that are outside of your control. You can't control the opinions of others, the traffic, or even the weather, but you can control how you respond to those things. When you internalize the dichotomy of control, you free yourself from unnecessary stress, frustration, and anxiety. You start to realize that only your actions, reactions, and decisions truly matter. This realization is like a superpower. It allows you to focus your energy on the things that actually make a difference. Dichotomy of control doesn't just help you stay calm in stressful situations. It also helps you gain clarity and focus. When you stop worrying about things outside your control, you're left with a clear path forward. You can direct your energy toward productive actions, knowing that you're investing in what truly matters. Imagine what it would feel like to go through life with this kind of mental clarity. No more second-guessing, no more distractions. Just laser-focused determination to achieve your goals and outsmart those who waste their time on things they can't control. Let's pause for a second and think about how this applies to daily life. Say you're working on a big project and there's a colleague who's constantly undermining your efforts, but you could get angry, complain, and let their behavior distract you. Or you could practice the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control. You can't control your colleagues' actions, but you can control how you respond to them. Do you choose to rise above their negativity? Do you stay focused on your work? By doing so, you outsmart them, not by trying to change them, but by mastering your own response. By now, you're probably starting to realize something important. The Stoic principles aren't just about surviving life's challenges, they're about thriving through them. Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to shape our own destiny, no matter the obstacles we face. With these keys, you'll learn to think more clearly, act with purpose, and outsmart everyone around you. But the best part, these Stoic keys aren't just theoretical ideas. They're practical tools that you can start using right now, in your everyday life. So, are you ready to begin your journey? Are you ready to outsmart everyone else with the timeless wisdom of Stoicism? Now that you've seen the power of Stoicism and the first few keys that can help you outsmart everyone else, it's time to delve deeper into the next steps. These keys aren't just philosophical ideas, they're practical tools you can use right now in any situation. They'll change the way you see the world and how you approach every challenge. Are you ready to keep going? Good. Let's dive in deeper, because here's where it gets really interesting. One of the most powerful Stoic principles is virtue as the highest good. In modern society, we often think of success in terms of money, fame, or power. But the Stoics saw virtue, things like wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, as the ultimate measure of success. Think about this for a second. Success is defined by external achievements like wealth. What happens when those things are taken away? You lose your sense of worth, right? But if your success is measured by the virtue you cultivate within yourself, no one can take that away from you. Stoicism teaches us that real power comes from within. When you focus on living virtuously, acting with wisdom, courage, and integrity, you build an unshakable foundation that no external circumstances can destroy. Now, how does this relate to outsmarting everyone else? Well, here's the thing. People are drawn to those who live with integrity. They trust them, they admire them, and they follow them. When you act with virtue, you don't need to manipulate or deceive others to get ahead. People naturally gravitate toward you, and in turn you gain their trust, respect, and loyalty. Think about leaders you admire, whether in history, business, or politics. The most effective ones aren't just skilled manipulators or opportunists. They embody virtues that inspire others. The key here is that virtue isn't just a moral ideal. It's a powerful tool that can help you outsmart the competition, build trust, and achieve lasting success. So let's break this down. Imagine you're in a meeting with a group of colleagues, and there's one person trying to undermine your ideas, using manipulative tactics to make themselves look better. What's your reaction? If you're like most people, you might be tempted to fight fire with fire, using similar tricks to counter their behavior. But what would happen if you chose to stay virtuous? You could respond calmly and logically, appealing to the facts and focusing on the bigger picture while remaining true to your values. In doing so, you not only maintain your integrity, but you also outsmart the manipulator, because they've resorted to deceit and you've chosen the higher path. People will notice that difference, and they'll respect you for it. Another powerful Stoic key is the concept of accepting fate. The Stoics were not passive in their approach to life. Rather, they believed in accepting whatever happens with grace. But this isn't about resignation or giving up. It's about understanding that the events of life are often outside our control. Instead of fighting against what we cannot change, we can learn to accept it and respond to it in the best possible way. Acceptance is a skill, and it's one that separates those who thrive from those who just survive. By accepting fate, you stop wasting energy on frustration, and you free yourself to focus on what truly matters, your response to life's challenges. Think about this. When something bad happens to you, say you lose a job, face a setback, or experience a personal tragedy, what's your first reaction? Do you resist, feel sorry for yourself, and struggle against the inevitable? Or do you accept what has happened? Take a step back and ask yourself, what can I do with this situation? The difference between these two reactions is what defines your success. Those who resist and fight against reality often find themselves stuck in a cycle of frustration, while those who accept and adapt are able to move forward, learn from the experience, and grow stronger. Acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about giving yourself the freedom to move forward. When you accept that setbacks are part of life, you stop seeing them as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities. This shift in perspective can be life-changing. Rather than feeling defeated by failure, you become empowered by it. Every setback becomes a stepping stone toward your success, and you outsmart everyone who is still stuck in the mindset of resisting what is beyond their control. Another key principle in Stoicism is practical wisdom. In the fast-paced world we live in, it's easy to get caught up in emotions, hype, and opinions. But the Stoics believe that wisdom, true, practical wisdom, comes from clear thinking, rationality, and thoughtful reflection. It's about seeing things as they truly are, not as we wish them to be. When you cultivate wisdom, you can make decisions based on reason, not impulsiveness or emotions. This is how you outsmart the people who are driven by whims and fads. Think about a time when you had to make a tough decision. Was it based on facts and careful consideration, or were you swayed by external pressures or emotions? The Stoics would argue that true wisdom lies in making decisions that align with your values and goals, rather than being influenced by fleeting emotions or societal expectations. When you learn to think clearly and make rational decisions, you gain an edge over those who are ruled by their impulses and emotional reactions. Wisdom isn't just about knowledge. It's about using that knowledge to make the best possible choices in every situation. This is how you outsmart others and create lasting success. Now let's talk about self-discipline. In a world filled with distractions, temptations, and endless options, self-discipline is one of the most powerful tools you can develop. The Stoics knew that to live a virtuous life, you must be in control of your desires, your impulses, and your actions. Self-discipline isn't about deprivation. It's about making intentional choices that align with your values and goals. It's about saying no to things that don't serve you and saying yes to things that bring you closer to your true purpose. Here's a simple example. Let's say you're working on a big project, but there are a million distractions pulling you in different directions. If you lack self-discipline, you might find yourself procrastinating, checking social media, or getting sidetracked by irrelevant tasks. But if you practice self-discipline, you'll focus your energy on what truly matters, completing the project. It's about prioritizing long-term goals over short-term gratification. And this is one of the keys to outsmarting those who get distracted easily and never follow through on their commitment. You may be thinking, okay, these Stoic keys sound great, but how do I stay motivated to keep practicing them every day? The truth is, motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable, but discipline, on the other hand, is a muscle you can strengthen over time. The more you practice self-discipline, the easier it becomes. You build habits that align with your long-term goals, and over time those habits create lasting success. When you commit to self-discipline, you outsmart everyone around you who is still relying on fleeting bursts of motivation to get things done. As you start to internalize these Stoic keys, virtue, acceptance, practical wisdom, and self-discipline, you'll notice a powerful shift in your mindset. You'll become more resilient, more focused, and more confident in your ability to navigate life's challenges. And here's the best part. These keys aren't just theoretical. They're actionable. You can use them right now in your everyday life to outsmart everyone else. It's not about being smarter or more talented. It's about using the timeless wisdom of Stoicism to create lasting success, build better relationships, and live a more meaningful life. Now that you've embraced the power of virtue, acceptance, wisdom, and self-discipline, let's explore deeper into Stoic principles that are designed to give you even more of an edge in today's chaotic world. These next keys will empower you to handle life's toughest challenges with grace, while others are still scrambling to keep up. Remember, Stoicism isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving and outsmarting everyone else by cultivating a mindset that turns adversity into opportunity. One of the Stoic principles that can radically transform the way you handle life's curveballs is negative visualization. Now you might be thinking, why would I want to visualize negative things happening to me? It sounds counterproductive, right? But stick with me here because this principle is truly life-changing. Negative visualization involves imagining the worst-case scenarios in advance, not as a way to create fear or anxiety, but to prepare yourself mentally and emotionally. When you prepare for the worst, you take away its power. You face your fears head-on and realize that no matter what happens, you'll be ready to handle it with strength and composure. The beauty of this Stoic practice is that it makes you appreciate what you have right now. By imagining losing something dear to you, whether it's your job, your health, or your loved ones, you begin to value those things more deeply. It's not about living in fear, but about realizing that life is fragile and that the things you take for granted today may not be here tomorrow. When you engage in negative visualization regularly, you start to see challenges as opportunities to grow, rather than threats to your happiness. By preparing yourself for setbacks and loss, you gain an unmatched resilience that others simply don't possess. For example, think about your career. Imagine for a moment that you lose your job tomorrow. Instead of panicking or succumbing to despair, you've already mentally prepared for that possibility. You've thought about how you would respond, what actions you would take, and how you would rebuild. When or if the situation ever arises, you are already ready, making the whole experience much easier to handle. And because you visualize the worst, when something bad happens, you'll be able to react with calm and clear-headedness, while others flounder in shock and fear. That's how you outsmart them. Next, let's talk about detachment. Now, this might sound harsh, but it's a critical skill if you want to live a life of peace and power. Stoics believe in detaching yourself from external outcomes and material possessions. This doesn't mean you should abandon your goals or stop pursuing things that bring you joy. Rather, it means that you shouldn't tie your happiness, sense of self-worth, or sense of peace to things that are beyond your control. You have to learn to be okay with whatever outcome comes your way. Consider this. You've worked hard for a promotion at work, and you're hoping for the best. But what happens if, despite all your efforts, you don't get the promotion? For most people, this would be devastating. It would affect their mood, their self-esteem, and their motivation. But for someone who practices Stoicism and detachment, this outcome isn't life-shattering. They can accept the result without becoming emotionally distraught, because their happiness is not tied to external factors like promotions, money, or recognition. They find contentment in doing their best and knowing that they have given their all. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting the outcome dictate your happiness. When you detach from external rewards and focus instead on how you handle the process, you become more centered, more in control of your emotions, and far less vulnerable to disappointment. And here's the thing, people around you will notice this. They'll see that you aren't swayed by every twist and turn in life, and they'll begin to respect you for your ability to stay grounded, no matter the circumstances. This gives you a distinct advantage in outsmarting others. Another Stoic key is the power of reframing. Reframing is the ability to take any situation, good or bad, and look at it from a different perspective. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Most people view situations through the lens of how they affect them personally. But Stoics understand that the way we interpret a situation is what determines our experience of it. Let me show you how this works. Imagine you're stuck in traffic running late for an important meeting. Your immediate reaction might be frustration, anger, or stress, right? But a Stoic reframes the situation. Instead of seeing the traffic as an obstacle, they see it as an opportunity to practice patience, calm, and mental clarity. Maybe they use the time to listen to an audiobook or podcast, or they take deep breaths to reset their mindset. By reframing the situation, they gain control over their emotions and stay calm, while others are stewing in frustration. This shift in perspective is how Stoics outsmart the emotional reactions that so many people fall prey to. Reframing isn't just about everyday annoyances. It's also about life's bigger challenges. When you experience a setback, instead of seeing it as failure, you reframe it as an opportunity to learn and grow. Instead of thinking, "This is the worst thing that could happen to me," you reframe it by saying, "This is an opportunity to improve, to build resilience, and to come back stronger." When you make reframing a habit, you begin to see the world through a lens of opportunity, not limitation. And let's face it, people who see opportunities where others see only problems are the ones who outsmart everyone else. Another powerful Stoic principle is living according to nature. This doesn't mean living in the wilderness or rejecting modern society. Rather, it means understanding and aligning yourself with the natural laws that govern life. It's about recognizing that there are things in life that are simply beyond our control and that we must flow with the currents of life instead of fighting them. This principle encourages you to take a step back and ask yourself, am I fighting against the natural order of things? Sometimes we're so caught up in trying to force outcomes that we forget to let life unfold naturally. Think about a time when you tried to force a situation and it didn't go the way you wanted. Maybe you pushed too hard for a promotion, or you tried to control the outcome of a relationship. When you try to control things that are outside of your control, you only create stress and resistance. On the other hand, when you align yourself with the natural flow of life, you begin to make decisions that feel effortless and intuitive. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means you stop forcing things and allow opportunities to present themselves in their own time. This approach not only saves you energy, but also positions you to make smarter, more aligned choices, giving you an edge over others who are still trying to fight their way through life. To master Stoicism and outsmart the competition, you must also embrace gratefulness. Sounds simple, right? But do you truly practice gratitude every day? Gratitude isn't just about being thankful for what you have. It's about recognizing the inherent value in every experience, even the negative one. The Stoics were known for their ability to see value in adversity, and they constantly reminded themselves that hardship is often a stepping stone to greater wisdom, strength, and resilience. Gratitude shifts your perspective and makes you less likely to take things for granted. It's about focusing on the positives, even in challenging times. For example, instead of feeling frustrated about a difficult situation, you can be thankful for the opportunity to grow and learn from it. Gratitude also improves your relationships, as people appreciate being around those who radiate positivity and appreciation. When you focus on what you have rather than what you lack, you stop feeling victimized by life's challenges and start taking control of your own destiny. When you practice gratitude, you become more centered, more resilient, and ultimately more successful. And here's the kicker. Those who are grateful and positive are the ones who attract more opportunities, while those who complain and focus on the negative repel them. This is how you outsmart others, by radiating an energy of abundance instead of scarcity and creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. Now that you've unlocked several powerful Stoic principles, it's time to dive even deeper into the strategies that will help you not just survive but thrive in today's complex and fast-paced world. As you continue to embody these Stoic keys, you'll start to notice subtle but powerful shifts in your mindset. You'll become more resilient, more strategic, and far more capable of navigating life's twists and turns. Ready to keep moving forward? Let's take things to the next level. One of the most powerful yet underused Stoic practices is the art of simplification. It's easy to get caught up in the complexity of life. We're constantly juggling multiple tasks, managing relationships and chasing success. But here's the secret. The more you complicate things, the harder it becomes to succeed. The Stoics understood that true power lies in simplifying life and focusing on what truly matters. Simplification is a strategy for clarity. And clarity is what gives you an edge over everyone else who's overwhelmed and distracted. Consider how many distractions you face on a daily basis. Your phone buzzes with notifications, your inbox is overflowing, and social media demands your attention. All these things pull you in different directions, draining your energy and focus. Now think about the most successful people you know. How often do they get caught up in unnecessary distractions? They understand that the more you simplify your life, the more space you create for your goals and ambitions. When you eliminate the noise and focus on what's truly important, you free yourself to take meaningful action and make real progress. This is how you outsmart the people who are running around in circles, overwhelmed by the chaos of their own lives. Simplifying your life doesn't just mean reducing external clutter. It's also about clearing your mental space. The Stoics taught the importance of keeping a clear mind, free from unnecessary worry, doubt, and distraction. When your mind is cluttered with fears, insecurities, and anxieties, it's nearly impossible to think clearly and make good decisions. But when you simplify your thoughts and focus only on what you can control, you create mental clarity. And when you have clarity, you can see opportunities that others miss. It's like having a clear view of the path ahead, while everyone else is stumbling through the fog. Another key to outsmarting everyone else is learning the power of silence. In today's world, we're constantly talking, texting, and communicating. But here's the thing. Sometimes silence is far more powerful than... The Stoics believed in the power of silence, not as a form of retreat, but as a tool for reflection, introspection, and focus. By embracing silence, you give yourself the space to think clearly, plan strategically, and make better decisions. Think about it. When was the last time you took a moment of complete silence to reflect on your goals and actions? In a conversation, silence can be incredibly powerful. Have you ever noticed how people often rush to fill silences with words? They speak to avoid discomfort or to gain approval. But when you practice the art of silence, you stand out. Instead of filling every moment with chatter, you listen more, observe carefully, and speak with intention. This gives you an edge in any situation. Whether you're negotiating a deal, resolving a conflict, or simply listening to someone's needs, people are drawn to those who speak less but have more to say. Silence makes you appear more thoughtful and authoritative, while everyone around you is simply talking for the sake of talking. Let's now talk about self-reflection. The Stoics were masters of reflection, constantly evaluating their thoughts, actions, and emotions. They kept journals and engaged in deep introspection to better understand themselves and their actions. This practice is a game changer. When you take the time to reflect, you're not just reacting to life's events, you're actively learning from them and growing. Self-reflection helps you identify patterns in your behavior, understand your motivations, and pinpoint areas where you can improve. Here's the kicker. Most people don't reflect. They move from one day to the next without stopping to evaluate their actions, thoughts, or emotions. As a result, they repeat the same mistakes, miss opportunities for growth, and remain stuck in unproductive habits. But when you make self-reflection a daily practice, you gain a huge advantage over others. You become more self-aware, more focused, and better equipped to make decisions that align with your true purpose. It's like being your own coach, constantly improving and refining your game. Here's a simple way to start reflecting on your life. Take 10 minutes each day to write down your thoughts. You can ask yourself questions like, what went well today? What could I have done better? How did I handle challenges? What emotions did I experience? By doing this consistently, you'll start to notice patterns and behaviors that you may not have been aware of before. And that's when the real transformation begins. Self-reflection will give you the power to outsmart everyone else by becoming more in tune with yourself and your actions. Another key to outsmarting others is the practice of patience. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with instant gratification, waiting can seem like a lost art. But Stoicism teaches us that patience is a virtue that can help us maintain our focus and composure, especially in times of uncertainty or adversity. When you learn to be patient, you take control of your emotions and your actions, rather than being controlled by them. You understand that great things take time and that rushing into decisions or actions often leads to mistakes. Think about it. How many people around you are constantly rushing to get ahead, jumping from one opportunity to the next, without taking the time to fully evaluate each situation? They're driven by a need for immediate results, which often leads to poor decision-making. But by practicing patience, you give yourself the time and space to make better choices, think things through, and avoid unnecessary risks. This long-term approach allows you to outsmart those who are too impatient to see the bigger picture. In the world of relationships, patience is especially valuable. It's easy to rush into friendships or business partnerships thinking that speed equals success. But true success in relationships comes from nurturing them over time, getting to know people, building trust, and allowing things to develop organically. When you practice patience in your relationships, you give them the space they need to grow and you set yourself up for long-lasting success. You'll build deeper connections, and people will respect you for your ability to stay grounded and composed, even when the world around you is moving too fast. Now let's talk about the importance of humility. It's easy to think that success is all about standing out, getting recognition, and boasting about your accomplishments. But here's the truth. Humility is a secret weapon. It's not about downplaying your achievements. It's about recognizing that there's always room for improvement, and that no matter how much you know, there's always more to learn. Humility allows you to approach situations with an open mind, which enables you to grow faster and learn from others. By practicing humility, you demonstrate that you're willing to learn from everyone, whether they're more experienced or less experienced than you. People respect humility because it shows that you're grounded and willing to put your ego aside. When you're humble, you become more approachable, more open to feedback, and more willing to collaborate. This makes you stand out in a world that's often dominated by arrogance and self-promotion. Humility is the key to outsmarting others, because it allows you to build stronger relationships and continuously improve without the barriers of ego. Finally, let's discuss the importance of having a clear purpose in life. This is the bedrock of everything the Stoics taught. Without a clear purpose, you're like a ship without a rudder, adrift, directionless, and at the mercy of external forces. But when you have a clear sense of purpose, you take control of your life and steer it toward your goals with confidence and determination. A clear purpose gives you motivation during tough times, keeps you focused during distractions, and helps you make decisions that align with your core values. Take a moment to ask yourself, what is your purpose? What drives you every day? When you're clear on your purpose, every action you take becomes a step toward that greater goal. And let me tell you, people who are driven by a clear purpose are far more effective than those who are aimlessly chasing after success. Purpose is magnetic. It attracts the right opportunities, people, and resources into your life, while others are still wandering without a clear direction. We've made incredible progress in unlocking the power of Stoicism to outsmart everyone else. By this point, you've learned the importance of mental clarity, simplifying your life, practicing patience, reframing challenges, and embracing humility. But there are still more keys to unlock. And in this next section, we'll delve deeper into Stoic strategies that will help you develop even more resilience, wisdom, and success. With these tools, you'll be unstoppable. One of the most profound Stoic principles to grasp is the idea of indifference to external events. Now, hold on for a moment. You might be wondering, how can I be indifferent to the things that happen in my life? Doesn't that mean I won't care about anything? Not at all. The Stoics weren't advocating for a cold, emotionless approach to life. Instead, they believed in focusing only on what's within our control and practicing indifference to external outcomes. The ability to stay detached from what happens around you, while still engaging fully with the world, is a game changer. When you become indifferent to external events, you give yourself the power to remain composed no matter what happens. Let's say you encounter an unexpected setback, like losing an important business deal. Most people would immediately spiral into frustration, anger, or disappointment. But the Stoic approach teaches you to be indifferent to that outcome. You don't let the deal define your worth or shake your confidence. Instead, you focus on what you can learn from the situation and use it as an opportunity for growth. This indifference doesn't mean apathy. It means emotional freedom. And it's how you outsmart everyone who's constantly tossed around by the unpredictable winds of life. When you practice this kind of detachment, you stop being ruled by emotions like fear, anger, or anxiety. Instead of reacting to the events of your life, you take a step back, assess what's within your control, and make a calm, rational decision. This leads to more clarity, fewer mistakes, and a more peaceful life. Most people are slaves to their emotions, reacting impulsively to life's circumstances. But when you cultivate emotional indifference to what's outside of your control, you're able to make smarter decisions, stay focused, and stay ahead of the game. You outsmart others simply by remaining calm and in control. Let's now explore the power of daily discipline. The Stoics were all about the importance of developing strong, consistent habits. It's easy to get excited about big goals, but the real power lies in the small, consistent actions we take every single day. Discipline in this sense isn't about forcing yourself into an exhausting routine. It's about building habits that align with your values. When you discipline yourself to take small, positive actions every day, you create a foundation for success that compounds over time. Think about someone who wants to become a successful entrepreneur. Sure, it's important to have big dreams and lofty ambition, but what's even more important is the discipline to show up every day, to do the work and to push through the challenges, even when the results aren't immediately visible. This is what the Stoics understood. Success isn't just about grand moments of achievement. It's about consistent effort, day in and day out. When you adopt this mindset, you'll outsmart everyone else. Because while they're distracted by the latest trend or searching for shortcuts, you'll be steadily building the life you want through deliberate action. Here's a simple practice. Ask yourself each day, what one small thing can I do today that will get me closer to my goal? It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be something that aligns with your purpose. Maybe it's reading for 20 minutes, making one important phone call, or taking a walk to clear your mind. These small, consistent actions add up and compound, giving you the momentum you need to outlast and outsmart those who are chasing instant gratification. Now, let's talk about the power of courage. Stoicism is not for the faint of heart. It's for those who are willing to confront challenges head-on, no matter how difficult or intimidating they might seem. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act despite fear. Fear will always be present, but the Stoics taught that we don't have to let it control us. True courage is about moving forward in the face of fear, doubt, and uncertainty, and doing it with strength, conviction, and composure. Imagine facing a challenge that you've been avoiding because it scares you. Maybe it's a difficult conversation you need to have, a big decision that carries risk, or an opportunity you're unsure of. Courage isn't about waiting until you feel ready. It's about taking the first step, no matter how uncomfortable or uncertain it might be. When you move forward with courage, you don't give in to fear. You use it as fuel to push through. And once you take that first step, the fear starts to fade, and you gain confidence with every subsequent action. This is how you outsmart everyone who's paralyzed by fear or doubt. You act while they hesitate. Here's a simple practice to build courage in your life. Each day ask yourself, what's one thing I've been avoiding because it scares me? It could be something as simple as speaking up in a meeting, or something bigger like pursuing a new career path. Do that one thing, take the first step, and watch how courage becomes a habit. As you continue to act in the face of fear, you'll develop a deep sense of resilience and strength that will set you apart from others. Now, let's explore the principle of focusing on the present moment. It's easy to get caught up in the past or the future, constantly worrying about what went wrong or stressing about what might happen next. But the Stoics knew that the only time we have control over is the present moment. If you're constantly living in the past or future, you'll miss the opportunities right in front of you. Being present allows you to fully engage with life and make the best decisions based on the situation at hand. Think about it. How many people do you know who are constantly dwelling on their past mistakes or anxiously anticipating future problems? They're always living in the shadows of their own minds, disconnected from the present moment. But when you master the art of living in the present, you make more clear-headed decisions, reduce stress, and build deeper connections with the people around you. By focusing on what's in front of you right now, you become more effective, more efficient, and more successful. This is another way to outsmart others who are lost in their own mental clutter, unable to focus on the task at hand. To practice presence, try this. Each time you catch your mind wandering to the past or future, gently bring your focus back to the present moment. Focus on your breath, the task you're working on, or the conversation you're having. When you train yourself to be fully present, you unlock an incredible power. The power to act with clarity and precision while others are distracted by their own mental noise. Now, let's talk about the importance of self-reliance. Stoicism teaches that we should look inward for strength, rather than relying on external circumstances or other people. It's about developing the ability to stand on your own regardless of what's happening around you. When you rely on others for your happiness, success, or sense of self-worth, you give away your power. But when you develop self-reliance, you empower yourself to create the life you want, independent of external influences. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't seek support or collaboration. It means that you don't depend on anyone or anything to define your sense of self. You know that your happiness and success come from within. Self-reliance is about having the confidence to trust yourself, make your own decisions, and take responsibility for your actions. When you practice this, you stop giving away your power to external forces. Instead, you take full ownership of your life and your choices, which makes you incredibly resilient and capable of outsmarting others who are still relying on the approval or validation of others. To build self-reliance, start by identifying areas of your life where you're relying too much on others. Maybe it's seeking constant validation from social media, or relying on others to solve your problems. Take small steps to reclaim your independence by making decisions on your own, trusting your instincts and becoming less dependent on external validation. We're at the final stretch, and the Stoic journey we've embarked upon is about to culminate in the last powerful principles that will elevate you above everyone else. By now you've developed resilience, clarity, and focus, and you've learned to harness your inner power. But there are a few more Stoic keys that will truly transform you into someone who is unbeatable, unshakable, and capable of outsmarting anyone who stands in your way. Are you ready to fully embody these last principles and leave your competition in the dust? Let's dive in. The first key we'll focus on is the Stoic practice of voluntary discomfort. This might sound strange at first. Why would anyone intentionally seek discomfort? But the Stoics understood that by embracing discomfort, you train yourself to become adaptable and tough, no matter what challenges life throws at you. Voluntary discomfort is about pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone on purpose. Whether it's taking cold showers, fasting, or engaging in intense physical exercise, the purpose is to remind yourself that discomfort is not your enemy, it's a tool for growth. Think about the most successful people you know. How many of them live a life of constant ease, comfort, and indulgence? Probably none. The most successful people are the ones who seek challenges, who don't shy away from hard work, and who actively embrace discomfort because they know that it's in these moments that growth happens. When you voluntarily expose yourself to discomfort, you not only build physical and mental resilience, but you also develop the ability to handle difficult situations with grace and confidence. Life doesn't always go smoothly, but when you're prepared for discomfort, you won't be thrown off course by setbacks or obstacles. This is how you outsmart everyone else. You don't wait for life's challenges to surprise you. You face them head-on, prepared and strong. To start embracing voluntary discomfort, challenge yourself with something that pushes your boundaries every day. It doesn't have to be extreme. Maybe it's skipping that extra cup of coffee, waking up earlier than usual, or doing something that makes you a little uncomfortable. The more you practice discomfort, the more you'll see how it empowers you to tackle anything life throws at you. The next key we'll unlock is the practice of gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive, especially when you're focused on outsmarting everyone else, but gratitude is one of the most powerful tools in the Stoic arsenal. The Stoics understood that by focusing on what you already have, rather than what you lack, you can shift your mindset from one of scarcity to abundance. Gratitude helps you appreciate the present moment, see the beauty in everyday life, and gain perspective when things aren't going as planned. When you actively practice gratitude, you begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth and every setback as a lesson in disguise. Instead of resenting difficult circumstances, you find reasons to be thankful for them because they are shaping you into a stronger, more resilient person. Gratitude shifts your focus from the negative to the positive, allowing you to feel empowered and energized even in tough times. Most people are stuck in a cycle of complaining about what they don't have or what went wrong. But when you practice gratitude, you unlock a powerful force that keeps you grounded and focused on what truly matters. Try this simple practice every day. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small. Anything that reminds you of the abundance in your life. The more you focus on gratitude, the more your mindset shifts from one of scarcity to abundance, and you'll begin to notice just how much you already have. This shift in mindset is one of the most powerful ways to outsmart everyone else, because it keeps you grounded and focused on your success, rather than allowing negativity to derail you. Next up is the Stoic concept of memento mori, remembering that you will die. Now don't panic. This doesn't mean that you need to live in fear of death. Rather, it's a reminder to live with purpose and urgency. The Stoics taught that by acknowledging the inevitability of death, you can live more fully and with greater clarity. It's easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, to chase distractions, and to procrastinate. But when you remind yourself that time is limited, you're more likely to focus on what truly matters and take action now. This practice of remembering death helps you cut through the noise and stay focused on your priorities. It also allows you to let go of petty concerns and fears because you realize that life is short and precious. The Stoics didn't see death as something to fear. Instead, they saw it as a powerful motivator. When you live with the knowledge that time is finite, you become more intentional with how you spend each day. You prioritize your goals, make meaningful connections, and make the most out of every opportunity. This is how you outsmart others. You live with urgency, making every moment count while others are wasting their time on things that don't matter. One way to practice memento mori is to meditate on the idea that your time is limited. Every day, reflect on the fact that you won't be around forever and use that as motivation to take bold, decisive action toward your goal. The more you embrace this truth, the more you'll realize just how much time you've been wasting, and you'll start to make every moment count. Let's talk about the importance of continuous learning and improvement. The Stoics were never satisfied with just being good enough. They were lifelong students, always seeking ways to improve themselves, expand their knowledge, and refine their skill. They understood that the pursuit of wisdom is a never-ending journey, and that the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. In today's world, where information is at our fingertips, and the pace of change is rapid, the ability to keep learning and adapting is essential to staying ahead of the game. To outsmart everyone else, you need to commit to lifelong learning. Whether it's reading books, taking courses, seeking mentorship, or practicing new skills, you must constantly seek ways to expand your knowledge and capabilities. People who stop learning fall behind. So if you're committed to improving every day, you'll always be one step ahead. Continuous learning keeps you relevant, sharp, and adaptable in an ever-changing world. You'll always be in demand because you're constantly evolving and growing while others stagnate. One of the best ways to embrace continuous learning is to set aside time each day to read or learn something new. Whether it's a few pages of a book or an online course, this small daily commitment to learning will compound over time, making you wiser, more knowledgeable, and better equipped to navigate life's challenges. Finally, let's end with the Stoic principle of tranquility. The Stoics believed that true success comes from inner peace, from having a calm mind and a steady heart, no matter what chaos or challenges swirl around you. This tranquility doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from within. When you develop the ability to remain calm, composed, and centered, you are able to make decisions from a place of clarity rather than emotion. Tranquility gives you the power to stay steady no matter how turbulent the world around you becomes. To achieve tranquility, the Stoics recommended practices like meditation, journaling, and reflection. By taking time to connect with yourself and your inner peace, you can reduce stress, eliminate distractions, and find a sense of calm amidst the storm. When you're tranquil, you are in control of your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions, and you can approach any challenge with a clear mind and a steady hand. Tranquility is how you outsmart everyone else. Because while others are overwhelmed by stress and emotion, you remain focused and in control. And there you have it. By mastering these final Stoic keys, voluntary discomfort, gratitude, memento mori, continuous learning, and tranquility, you will be unstoppable. You've built resilience, strength, wisdom, and composure, and now you have all the tools you need to outsmart anyone who crosses your path. Remember, Stoicism isn't just a philosophy. It's a way of life. Embody these principles and you'll stand head and shoulders above the crowd, poised to succeed in whatever you do. The journey isn't over. Stoicism is a lifelong practice, and the more you apply these principles, the more powerful you'll become. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep outsmarting the world around you. The power is in your hands.